your 7 steps to recession-proof your business, our webinar. We are very excited to have you all on, and we are looking forward to going through our 10X Business Coaches Down Under presentation on the 7 steps to recession-proof your business. Now, I do see you've all joined. Great. We will go through a little bit of housekeeping. Do make sure that you mute yourself and stay muted throughout the presentation. If you aren't already, please mute yourself. Again, simple things. Turn off all the distractions, phones off, etc. And thank you, Sienna, for dropping the rules of the game into the chat. For those of you who do not know where the chat is, if you cannot see it, there are 3 little lines on the bottom of your screen. You can click on those and then open up the chat so that you can see the rules of our game, so that you can maximize this webinar. Do make sure you also have pen and paper as well. Take plenty of notes. And we like to keep it really interactive. So use the chat. We will ask you to drop things in the chat along the way. Participation is paramount in order for you to get the most out of this webinar. And there are a whole bunch of preamble things and disclaimers that I should read. However, you're adults and you can read it for yourselves. We cannot guarantee your results, and it all comes down to the effort that you are going to put in. Personal accountability. We are providing you with our 10X knowledge and our 10X experiences. However, it is not substitute for any professional advice, particularly when it comes to income. This also recording is this is being recorded, and we will be using it for a variation of purposes. So being aware that you are participating on that level as well. So that is all of the legal bits and pieces that we must go through and the disclaimers we must go through before we start. But again, we've had some people just jump in. So welcome to your 7 steps to recession-proof your business, hosted by myself, Alison Wheeler, and Gary Ryan. So let's get into the webinar. What can you expect? Well, number 1, I would expect, and we will expect, that some of your beliefs will be challenged. So you may find a bit of ooh and ah and feeling uncomfortable as we go through some of these principles. And I hope that you do, because we want to be challenging. Sometimes it's not what we don't know, it's what we think we already do know that can be a much bigger problem, the things that you hold true to yourself. So we are going to challenge those beliefs that are held by you, that you've agreed with, and that are held by society, in order to be able to help you really move yourself and your business forward. So then we also, and we know because we have lived experience of this, you will also probably say to yourself at times, there is no way I will do that. We just ask you to park those thoughts, right? And trust in the process. We definitely expect you to be uncomfortable. Welcome to 10X. I think you will get comfortable being uncomfortable. It is part of the mantra. Focus on how you can implement 10X rather than arguing with it. So part of your mind will probably argue with some of the things that we're doing. You will probably disagree. That's okay. We went through that too. But do your very best to focus on and turn that into, okay, how can I use this materials? So hopefully all of you have not just turned up to be a bottom on a seat. You have turned up in order to take away real world strategies to blow your business up and 10X your results. We are here to deliver to you real life strategies that you could go and implement tomorrow to blow your business up. But we can't implement them for you. So question yourself, how? How can I blow up my business? What am I going to do with this information? Because otherwise you're just information gatherers. It is not knowledge until it is applied. So take plenty of notes, but noting also down, how am I going to apply this information? So I will do a little bit of an intro to myself. I'll hand it over to Gary and he will do an introduction to himself. So look, we are the only 10X Elite coaches in Australia. So you are lucky because you have both of us on. And in fact, we're actually the only 2 10X Elite coaches in Australasia. So we'll go a little bit further than that. So you have the benefit of both of our knowledge from a 10X perspective, but also our real world experience. I have 13 years of coaching experience, I have many more years experience in business, and my background, I'm an occupational therapist by profession. I have worked within organizations to save them millions of dollars off their bottom line, to stop hurting and harming their people. So I've worked a lot of time in culture, and with large organizations all across Australia and within New Zealand as well. Then I've coached. I also ran a network marketing business, built that to a 7-figure business, and the best and #1 distributor in the world in that company. And I am also an Amazon bestseller, a professional athlete. I am a mum, a dog mum, a wife, and all of that too. So life is busy. So we do have real world experience. So hopefully we can bring all of that into what is 10X. 10X is not just about blowing up your business. 10X is a way of living for your life, so that all areas of your life are going in the direction that you want them to. So without further ado, though, I would like to bring Gary out, my partner in crime, my fellow 10X elite coach, and all-round awesome guy. Gary, come on out.
Gee, I'm just going to keep playing repeat on that, Alison. Thank you very much. I like that introduction, but thank you, folks, for joining us. And we are dead set serious about getting very quickly into some value for each of you. I've been in business for 18 years with organizations that matter. I work in helping people with their leadership so that the leaders themselves can go home and sleep better, because when they're doing that, the employees are sleeping better. And when employees are sleeping better, in fact, their family lives are better. And I see my work having a direct impact from the workplace to society through homes being better places for people. So it's leadership, high performance cultures, and business growth. As you're about to see, Australia has got some challenges with our businesses, and Alison and I are on a mission to help businesses grow sustainably and to be successful as we go forward. And just plant a seed in your mind. Whatever revenue targets that you've got for your business, imagine if they were 10 times higher than they currently are. What difference would that make for you? What would it mean for the people you get to serve? What would it mean for the impact you get to have for your business, even straight away? Because 10X means 10 times. Alison just said it's all about our entire lives, our health, our fitness, the way we approach our work, and it starts with our mindset. What you'll see with what Alison and I are doing, so if you choose down the path to get access to this recording and you come back and watch it, you'll see that we are modeling a whole set of 10X behaviors and principles in this presentation. You're not going to be able to read and understand them at the moment, but if you choose to get more involved in this world with us, you will be able to see us modeling this behavior. Your job is to mimic it to the best of your ability and over time, master it in your personal, authentic way. Business viability in this country. What we know is that financial hardships in businesses come as a result of something relatively simple. And what that is that businesses are not able to sell their products and services in quantities great enough and at prices high enough to make the business profitable and viable over the long term. That's directly from our coach, Grant Cardone, from his book, If You're Not First, You're Last. If you don't know who Grant Cardone is, go check out Undercover Billionaire. Go check out Grant Cardone. Do a search. You'll find out very quickly he's a self-made multi-billionaire. Now, some people get a little bit cringeworthy when they hear about the word billionaire because there's only, in fact, 2,100 billionaires in our entire population on the earth of 8 billion people. Now, the fact with Grant is he is on a mission to help more people get wealthy throughout the world, because there is in fact enough money floating around the world being printed for everyone, in fact all 8 billion people to in fact be wealthy. And his mission is to help people get more educated and understanding about how finance and wealth actually gets created, and that business is the tool. Business is the tool to enable us to actually create more wealth throughout the world, because one thing's for certain, folks, our governments aren't going to do it. Alison and I are connected into a global community, and there isn't anyone out there, maybe with the exception of the Emirati government, that is actually really supportive, truly supportive of businesses and helping businesses grow, employ more people, and be more sustainable. Now,
just that slide here too, Gary, this will go up against what most people believe, because most people want to develop their product. They want to have it all perfect. and then they want to take it to market. By the time you've done that, you have no proof of concept. You haven't taken it to the market. You haven't tested it, and you still don't know it works. Yet you've invested a lot of money, a lot of time. So what we're really talking about here is flipping the model on its head and taking the idea to market far before you're ready, so that you can actually create viable businesses. So it is really is almost the opposite to what most people are taught and what most people will teach you. But a large proportion of this too is get the perfectionism and the procrastination out of the way and take more action.
And when you do so, it's about those of you that have existing businesses with your new products and services, because we all have to keep finding new ways to continue to service our existing clients. So as a result of that, you equally need to be able to get to the market quickly. Take your products and services to the market quickly. So the biggest factors that are holding businesses back from getting their products and services in quantities great enough and at prices high enough to be profitable and viable in the marketplace is marketing, your sales skills, and your accountability. Your accountability to yourself, because particularly for solopreneurs or people working in very small businesses, which are making up huge numbers, well over 1.2 million Australian businesses are either one or two people in our country, and New Zealand's got very similar proportionary numbers as well. And the facts are that people are not being held accountable for their own businesses, their own targets and numbers. And it's the combination of these three that's missing, which is why with the offer that Alison and I have got here to see in the chat, businessgrowthdownunder.com/mentoring program. We have our existing group mentoring program, which is every Tuesday evening. It's 48 sessions. There'll be 4 weeks throughout the year, Christmas, etc., where there won't be sessions, but there's 48 sessions over a 12-month period. You get 99% of the time, both Alison and I, they're 45-minute sessions. They're all recorded. We educate you on your 10x mindset, your 10x marketing, your 10x sales, and your 10x follow-up principles. We get to practice and drill. We get to practice and drill, not on live clients. And this is one of the other problems that people have in the sales space, is you're practicing selling skills on live customers when you don't know what you're doing. And this is hurting businesses across our countries down under, because we've got people in business not mastering these skills. Think of a martial art where you go through the belts over time. 10x is very much like that. We get you to build up your repertoire of skills, your mindset, your marketing, your sales, and your follow-up, so that you can achieve success when it comes to your marketing and sales skills with your clients and grow your business and achieve your targets. You get access to all session recordings, including all existing recordings. There's a huge library of resources that you get access to. Our introductory offer to you is what we call a stupid if you don't offer. It's not on one level that smart for Alison and I to be offering this to you at $197 per month for a 12-month period, and you get those 48 sessions. You get the opportunity to learn particularly about your marketing for your business, selling for your business, and most importantly, we close that accountability gap, because a big part of what we do with our group mentoring program is hold you to account for what you say you're going to do. If that all makes sense, please drop a 10x in the chat for us. And Alison, let's get everyone into, in addition, of course, the WhatsApp accountability group and the exclusive Facebook groups for that offer as well. And Alison, let's get into step one. Get your pens and paper ready, folks.
Yep. So let's get into step number one, so you can bring you all of the value. Step number one, what is the fastest way for you to make more money tomorrow? It is as simple as increase your prices. So often, I go through this with my clients. Okay, when was the last time you reviewed your prices? Right? And let's just think about that for a moment. Is, the price of power's gone up. The price of literally everything has gone up. If you have not adjusted your prices, then your margins are getting eaten alive. Right. So increase your prices. Great time. Right now is a great time, particularly coming into the end of the financial year. It is a fabulous time to be able to time that with end of financial year. So from 1st of July, what could you put your prices up to? How much can you put your prices up? Do that, make that adjustment. You don't need to justify, just put your prices up, right? So that you can actually make more money. Now, I did this with one of my clients. They own, they're a family-owned business. They have 6 pizza stores here. Now, they put their prices up 20 cents a pizza. That's it, 20 cents a pizza. Do you think their customers really noticed at 20 cents a pizza? No. Do you know what that did for them from a revenue perspective? They made a $42,000 a week more. That's a lot of pizzas, but 20 cents, right? So it's not always that you necessarily need to make these giant leaps, depending on your price, depending on your customers, depending on all of those things. But that's a heck of a big change to their bottom line, when literally all of their cost of goods has gone up so much. And equally the same, so is labor, right? As Gary just posted in the chat, inflation went up by 4%. The data is saying how far it's gone. Like this is real time, guys. To stay in business, you will need to adjust your prices. So for those of you who are going to adjust your prices tomorrow, pop into the chat a $. Who can actually adjust their prices tomorrow or on the 1st of the new financial year, the 1st of July? Perfect. Loving the $. Exactly. That is step number 1. Woohoo. Loving it. Step number 2, the second sale. So are you actually asking your customers for the second sale? We know from 10x principles that the easiest sale is the second sale. You will do most of the work in client acquisition and getting the customer in your door in the first place, in making that first sale. What are you selling them thereafter? What are you actually selling them? And when do you sell it to them? When do you upsell them? When do you go for that second sale? And there's lots of data around this. A lot of people say, oh, I didn't make the second sale until like miles after or ever, because most businesses don't ask for the upsell. The perfect time is as soon as the person has mentally agreed to the first sale. And when you're in the sales process, if you understand sales, you will know when that is. You can feel it. It's a tangible thing. And a simple question: would you consider, have you considered, all you're doing is proposing a shift? But if you don't, like most often people are coming to you because you're an expert or you know your product well enough. They don't necessarily, they think they know what they want, but they don't necessarily know what they need. So they're coming to you as an expert. If you are not potentially upselling them and giving them these options, you are missing out on a hell of a lot of money in your business, because they are coming to you because you know your product. You should be sold on your product in order to be able to shift them into the right product, because we know on 10x principles, most people come to you and they are on the wrong product, despite them being convinced that's what they want or that's what they think they want. It's not necessarily what they need. So most often your customers are on the wrong product when they come to you. So that is where that second sale is an opportunity to be able to do that. One of my clients, we started, they were not doing second sales at all. So we introduced second sales, we introduced upsales, or trained all the staff. Now they're making an additional $5,000 a week. They have 2 businesses. Each business now, revenue's gone up $5,000 a week, just on asking, and they make a lot of smaller sales, you know. The maximum product price they sell is $30 per product, down to a few dollars. So that's huge in just asking that simple question. So they are 2 very fast principles in order to be able to recession-proof your business and get more out of your business now. So in the chat, who has already got something that they can implement in their business from the first? How long have we been on, Gary? Not very. How long? Who has already got something that they can think that they could take away and implement in their business to increase their revenue and create a more recession-proof business? Put a thumbs up or put a yes in the chat if you have something from already that you can take away and implement.
Awesome. Now, just with that second sale. So also with this, folks, think about, were you sold, in inverted commas, to attend, even though it was free? Did you have to be sold? Just nod on the screen did you have to be sold? Even though it's free, did you have to be sold to come along? And the answer is yes, you did. For you to give up you've traded your time for this. We've made a sale. Have we already modeled to you a second sale? And you can nod again, right? The answer is yes. We put an offer on the table already within the first 15 minutes of as a form. We're being completely transparent here, showing you how this works, right? Whether you paid us or not for the first sale, many of you would have free strategy calls, for example. It's a sale to get people to turn up for that free strategy call. You need to understand that. That's actually a sale. You have to use these principles to get the people to even agree to turn up and give you their information, right? And then you've got to have your offer in there as a format of the second sale. And then, of course, once you've got a second sale, what's the second sale to the second sale? That's how these principles work, because that is so powerful to have your second sales, because it literally is a no-brainer from the perspective of when you go to a major shopping center and you sit in the car park. Please do this the next time you're in a major shopping center. When you see people come out of that shopping center, because people are buying things all the time, they've either got no bags or multiple bags. Think about it. They've either got 0 bags or multiple bags. It's very rare they walk out with just one bag. And what we know through a lot of research over time is that people are doing a second sale as a psychological justification for the first sale. Now, if that's how people operate when they buy, we need to use that information in how we operate our businesses when we're selling our products and services, because people have trained themselves to behave that way. Why wouldn't we do that? Now, we're not selling. Oh, Alison, I want to be really clear. We are not talking about selling for selling's sake. We are talking about selling services and products that are actually going to benefit people, that you truly believe in yourself, and that's why you've put all this time and effort into your business to provide that service or product to the people you're selling them to, because you know it's actually going to make things better for them. We are absolutely not talking about selling things that are useless for people. If you have a product or service that is of value, that makes a positive difference, then we argue from a 10x point of view, you have a duty to help people become loyal to you. And second sales is the immersion in the doorway to loyalty. Once people buy once, buy twice, buy 3 times, they start to feel a sense of loyalty, because as we've said, it validates that first purchase. Now, step 3 is follow-up. Now, all follow-up is, by the definition in the dictionary, is something that continues or completes a process or activity. It's to see something all the way through. So we've got our 10x mindset, marketing, sales, and follow-up. And follow-up, folks, as we're going to be teaching you with some more material on follow-up here, is absolutely essential, okay? Absolutely essential to your success in your business.
And a little tip there, just, back to your, if you go one back, Gary, in terms of that definition of follow-up, think with that, something that continues or completes a process or activity. Who do you think is doing that? Who is the one that's going to drive that to completion? That has to be you, because someone is either buying or selling in all scenarios. So know which seat you will sit in and know which seat your customer sits in. Because if you are not the one who is in that following through to closure, then you are likely to be the one that's buying. So just be very aware, are you buying from your customers, or are your customers buying from you? And also, additionally to that, look for, in your life, there will be patterns. Do you have a habit of not following up for yourself? Do you have a habit of not following through and completing cycles? 10x principle, complete cycles of action. If you are having trouble with follow-up and closing, I guarantee you I could walk around your house and your life, and I could find plenty of areas where you have a multitude of incomplete things, right? How you do one thing is how you do everything.
And how many of you have sent a quote to someone and been ghosted? Type the letter Y in the chat. You've sent a quote to someone and then you just got nothing back. Okay, so Alison has, Barrett has, Sienna has, Kaz has. Okay, great, folks. Like this, Dr. Haley has, right? Beth has as well. Like you've sent a quote and then nothing's happened. Now, if you do not understand this principle of follow-up, the chances of you just accepting you've been sold a ghost. You will even go around telling people I've been ghosted to the detriment of your business, because your action in response to being ghosted is to tell people I've been ghosted, but actually do nothing to follow up with the person who's actually ghosted you, because they're just a human being, right? So this principle of follow-up is absolutely essential and is costing businesses so much money. It's not funny, right? So no follow-up is a massive mistake. If someone ghosts you, you've got to be already knowledgeable of the follow-up activities you're going to do. Most people quit between 1 to 4 follow-ups, and you're going to see some data very, very soon that is detrimental to your business. Now, most professional salespeople only follow up twice. People who are trained in sales only follow up twice. So the amateur business owner who's never even been trained in sales, and let's be honest, most business owners have never been formally trained in marketing or sales, and yet they want to run a business. And we wonder why 60% of businesses down under fail in the first 3 years.
And I can tell you there'll be something too, just quickly on that, Gary, will be how often have you said it to yourself, or have you ever said Papa Y in the chat? Have you ever heard yourself saying, I don't want to be pushy? Have you ever said that in your life when it comes to selling your product, right? Well, then you might have just a little bit to learn around persistence and follow-up, because culturally, right, in this part of the world particularly, more so than in other parts of the world, we have a major cultural problem around this. We think it's pushy. But who's going to push again, who's selling? You or your customer? If you don't push your product into the market, who's going to push it into the market?
Which brings us to that last aspect of follow-up, and that is the massive underestimation of effort required to close a sale. And that underestimation of the effort required to close a sale, especially in business to business, 78% of business to business deals take more than 90 days, folks. If you've been in business for a while, you know this is true. If you don't understand that you have to keep following up and following up and following up, you're going to end up not closing deals where you actually should have and could have been providing value and service to the people that had initially inquired into your service. So in the 10X world, when you have that moment, when you say to yourself, gosh, this is hard. This is so frustrating. This is so hard. The beauty is this principle teaches you, I knew I was going to get to this moment. I knew, despite knowing I was going to underestimate how much effort I need to put in, I'm here now. At least I know that's where I'm at. And folks, so what's the thing you have to then do? Pop it in the chat. What's the thing you would then have to do? Once you have this moment, you realize I've underestimated the effort required. I've hit that point. I'm frustrated. I'm struggling. What's the thing you have to do? On the top.
And we know you'll all hit that, because we do regularly.
We know,
right? Because you keep adjusting your goals. So it's like this becomes quite the norm in the 10X world. It's incredibly frustrating. Keep going, 100%.
That's it.
Follow up and take action. Exactly. You adjust, right? You adjust you now realize you underestimated the effort it would take. So what do you then do? You adjust. Oh, I got it wrong, right? Oops. Adjust my estimation of effort, add a 0 on the end, and you're getting closer, right, to the numbers it takes, and then get back on the horse, follow up, and keep going. What is the next action I can take to move this thing forward? And some will land and some won't, but at least you're taking action forward.
This week, I'm up to a year of follow-ups. I've lost count with this particular client who in August of last year, after they'd reached out to me at the end of June in 2023, in August of last year, actually signed a proposal to proceed and then reneged on that proposal. Has ghosted me multiple times. And I literally turned up at the office on a Friday, unannounced, as one of my follow-ups. And it turned out that no one in the office was there because they were all working from home. So I then rang the business owner and said, hey, I'm sitting out the front of your office. I know it was unannounced. No one's actually here. Now, I got his voicemail, and this is the other thing is always, this is an extra bit of bonus information for you. Always leave a message, folks. Never ever hang up without leaving a message, because there is so many phone calls coming through that are junk where people don't leave a message. Your number could get caught up in that and you get blacklisted. Okay. If you don't, so always leave a message. So I left him a message saying, hey, I'm sitting out the front of your office. Unfortunately, no one's here. We need to be in contact, etc., etc. On the way back driving to my office, he, for the first time in about 6 weeks, he emailed me, said, sorry, I'm in Sydney. Yes, I want to keep going, etc., etc. Can we catch up next week when I'm back in Melbourne? Follow up works, folks, right? You've got to have a plan for follow up because it's so important for your business, which gets us to this next piece of information of why you need to follow up. As Alison was saying, think about it. We've just given you some data. What was the number of follow-ups that professional salespeople do that I told you, folks? Who knows that number? Pop it in the chat. What was the number of follow-up efforts I told you before that even professional salespeople are only doing? Who can remember in the chat? 2, Sienna, spot on. Thank you. Right? That's all. So people aren't doing it. This is such a game changer for you. It's like the biggest secret to business success is to learn how to master follow-up. It's actually the right thing to do. For whatever reason, when people engaged with you, they did have some level of intent to access your service and products to make their life better, right? They had some level of intent. Follow-up is the right thing to do. It's a service to the people who end up with your product and service. Follow-up is a service to them, because people have all sorts of things go on in their heads, right? You know this because you're a human being and you know lots of other human beings. They have all sorts of things going on in their heads after they've decided something to not do it, even if it's better for them.
And also with this one too, Gary, is you are competing, particularly nowadays, you are competing against so much noise and so many other priorities. You are not the only one in the game where they can spend their money. Now, that could be your direct competition, or it could be bread on the table. Who knows? They're spending money no matter what. It's just whether they spend it with you. And if you are the most known, you're in their face, they don't have to go out and do a lot of extra effort, make business very easy for people to do business with you. Then when the time is right and the pain is enough, guess who they come back to? Because they don't want to, people are busy. They don't want to waste time looking for going through the process all over again. But often, I spoke to someone recently and they didn't do their follow-up and they've lost loads of customers that way, because when people needed that service, they went somewhere else because they didn't have the person's contact details anymore. So just the power of follow-up.
Now, where Alison just said best known beats best, think of McDonald's. In Australia in particular. Is McDonald's the best food you can possibly eat?
I think that applies worldwide, Gary. Fairly sure. Don't think that's just to our section of the woods. For sure. But certainly that I would say they are not known for their best burgers, right? You do not go to McDonald's because they're the best burger. They're just the best known, and most often you go to get the Happy Meal to keep kids quiet.
Well, we even have advertising in Australia based on the terminology of going on a Macca's run. Anyone that's got kids playing kids sport over time, you do the Macca's run after the kids sport. So we actually have vernacular that reflects best known, not best. So if you got any arguments in your head about best known beats best, just think of every time you go past those golden arches, that is the symbol for this to be true. So why does this impact you? The reason why you need to follow up is that you become obscure. If no one knows who you are, if you are the best kept secret going around, that's no good for your business.
No, and it's actually, in fact, I think it's the worst saying ever. I'm the best kept secret. I hope that you guys don't say that from this moment forward. If you've said it in the past, I'll forgive you. But now you know better, right? So please don't say that. Please say, I'm going to be the noisiest in my space and get out of obscurity.
The 98-2 rule is this: 2% of sales are made on the first contact. That's it. 98% of sales are made as a result of follow-up, folks. 98%. And we're going to give you now some more detail on the percentages and breakdowns from millions of data sets of points around the importance of follow-up. If you are not following up, you are leaving 98% of your potential income and revenue on the table, folks. You have to get serious, structured, and we say professional about the way you follow up, because this is the data. 2% of sales are made on the first contact. 3% of sales are made on the second contact. And that's the point at which the majority of people give up with their follow-up. They give up at the second follow-up. So there's still 97% left there at that point. 5% of sales are made on the third follow-up, and 10% of sales are made on the fourth. So remember we said before about the fourth follow-up? So there's still 90% of sales to be closed after the fourth follow-up. And the chances of you folk on the call having a deliberate, conscious, understandable, planned, structured follow-up system that goes beyond 4 is pretty low, unfortunately. But that's why you're here, folks, to learn this material so that you can start taking action with your follow-up to change that data. Okay.
And to be clear, follow-up also is not the same message 4 times. It's not the same message 5 times, because yes, you will get ghosted. Are you ready to buy it? 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 No, really, please do not repeat the same follow-up message more than twice. Get creative. So that 5 to 12 follow-ups, there should be a variance in that follow-up. It's not the same thing over and over. Provide value, go on their socials, stalk the person, like their posts. There's so many different ways to send them something in the mail. It's literally unlimited, but have the discipline to not repeat the same follow-up, the same verbiage of follow-up twice.
And so
because that is how you get ghosted.
Yeah, a simple example could be making a comment on one of their social media posts is a form of follow-up. Right? You're staying in contact with the person. You're letting them know that you're still around. Hopefully some of you have experienced these sorts of follow-ups from Alison and myself, for example. Step 4, the 7 Ps, Alison, the first one.
Absolutely. And this is the 7 Ps, to be clear, because some of you be looking at what those are the 7 Ps. What is the most important thing, first and foremost, in your business? Anyone in the chat, take a stab in the dark. What could the P stand for? The most important thing in your business that you will need. Nope, it's not product. Before product. You can do this before you even have a product. But good guess. And it does start with P. But it's not the right one. Try again. Anyone? Starts with P. Promote. Exactly. 10 points, Beth. So you may have heard this before. So it is the 7 Ps, the 7 promotes. So this is where promotion and sales and lead generation is where you need to be spending majority of your time. Because otherwise, if you don't generate leads, then guess what? you are not going to make any sales, and you aren't going to stay in business. So what do? You need to promote what you do. First, promote what you do everywhere, in anywhere you can. Promote why you do it. Why is it your passion? Right? As Gary was saying earlier, we are passionate to go out and help every small business in Australia and New Zealand and help them to become highly profitable. Why is that? From my perspective, it is because it changes the family unit. It changes communities. Guess what? Small businesses provide the most jobs. So if businesses are profitable, small businesses are profitable, they can employ more people. Guess what? Their homes are happier. And guess what? That then affects the next generation. So we can raise a better next generation because the household unit is not so stressed all the time. As a passion, as a reason, right? Promote who you do it for. Who's your ideal target market? As we said, we are targeting small business owners. We've made that clear, right? Remember, model, mimic, master. We are demonstrating to you these principles throughout this webinar. So promote who you do it for. Promote your value proposition. What are you selling them? What's the benefits? What's the value proposition? Promote that. You need to be telling people, right? We need to be promoting our value proposition. Number 5.
So just before we go there, like some of you might have noticed some of the posts we did, as we showed the blank sheets of info from the notebook. Some of you might have seen some of those promotions. And that was about showing people that, yes, this is free. So yes, we've done an upsell. Of course, that was going to happen. But we're giving real authentic value for the vast majority of this session, okay? And we wanted to let people know that our value proposition for you to give up your time is that we are going to give you real information, and it's not going to be one of those webinars where the entire time we sit there and we're blabbing on and you're sitting there wondering, what are they going to sell me at the end? We've already told you what we're going to sell you. We're showing you real value along the way, which is just the smallest tip of the iceberg. And then at the end, you've got an opportunity over today and the next few days to make a decision if you want to go there or not. That is the deliberate structure that we're doing. But we have promoted this value proposition of real, genuine information along the way. So the 5th one, Alison.
Absolutely. So the 5th one is promote why someone should join you. As in, build a big enough brand out there, shouting loud enough that why should employees come? Why should people come and work with you? As in, why, and you may have said this, it's really hard to employ right now, right? It's hard to find good people. I hear that all the time. I know that if I hear that, there are major gaps in that business's promotion. There are major gaps in that business knowing what their mission, vision, and values are. Because if you are promoting loud enough and hard enough and clear enough what you do for people, who you do it for, why you do it, and why you are different, then people will knock down your door. People will want to come and work for you. Or, as in 10X World, if you need to go and find them who are working for someone else, they will see the value in coming to work for you. So that is promoting enough to be known enough that people will want to come and work for you. Promote to your teams and client wins. So as you build, even if you are a solopreneur right now, you need to remind yourself of how good you are at what you do. Promote, if you have a team or you're just you, promote client wins. Every day go, okay, wow, we made a difference here. We won here. How are you winning? That is a promotion. Why? Because it makes you feel good. Keeps you on track.
And this is where you can use social media too, to be talking about promoting your clients to the world through social media. Promote your team members, even if they might be subcontractors and they've done some great work for you. Promote them to the world as well. This is about building an ecosystem of promotion with these 7 Ps.
And I'll just go back. There was just a question back, which was in terms of that value proposition. So what we're really saying is promote the impact that someone working with you should expect to receive. What is that person working with you or purchasing your product? What is the impact that they will receive? What do they get from it, right? So Haley, I know that for you, it's, their energy back, their hormone health great. They're at their ideal body weight, so they can feel energized. They can live the life they want, right? That is what do they get? What do they get working for you with you? And then we have number 7, teach your duplication. Teach your team and clients to do the 6 promotes. Because then you now have raving fans out there, both your employees and your clients going out there and marketing for you. Imagine if you had your raving clients going out there and promoting, past clients promoting, current clients promoting. Team. Imagine if your team were also promoting. What difference would it make if you had a whole team of people who were jumping all over your socials, i.e. your staff, and jumping on and liking and commenting and creating engagement? They need to be going through those 6. And again, if you are your only staff, guess what? You get to do the cycle again. So whilst you're a solopreneur, you just get to do that cycle a whole lot until you get to employ your first person. And then you teach them that really quick, because your staff need to be part of the promotion process, understanding that we're really building a sales-focused organization. Because if you don't have a sales-focused organization, your business can't grow.
And on that point, before we get into step 5, is in 10X, we advocate, and hopefully you've been picking this up, that you spend 95% of your focus, time, and energy on your top line. Yes, you need to know where your expenses are, but most business owners are spending 95% of their time on their expenses and not spending their time and energy on growing their top line. Your energy's in the wrong place. Yes, you need to see expenses that are connected to revenue as investments, not expenses. You need to literally change your mental terminology about that, because of the way it helps you be successful, so you have something to promote.
And you can't actually reduce your expenses down past 0. So at some point in time, income solves all things, right? Solves a heck of a lot of problems. So focusing your efforts in the correct place. So Gary, you want to do step number 5?
Yes. So it's do the math, folks. So do you know your numbers? Now, just recently, on an annual level, a weekly level, it's perfect time for this, for those of us down under, being the end of the financial year. For most people, it's not for everyone. I appreciate that. But literally, if you have your annual revenue target, and we advocate strongly to aim for big numbers, right? So imagine, for the sake of the math, that you aimed for $1 million revenue for the year. If you then work that back to, well, okay, $1 million divided by 52 weeks gives you a weekly revenue target. And if you take that weekly revenue target and you divide it by 5 days per week as a business owner, because we keep going, yes, we might have some holidays here and there, but literally our business keeps going 365 a year, you can end up with understanding with clarity what your daily sales target is. Now, all of a sudden, the daily sales target that's in the low thousands becomes a hell of a lot more doable than this big $1 million figure that seems, for many people, nearly impossible if you were running, say, a solopreneur type business. And when you do that math, and then you've also gone and done some work because you've been educated about, well, what's the number of leads I need to have to end up having the conversations with people who end up actually buying as a result of my follow-up? What do those numbers look like from a math perspective, which will then tell me how much activity I need to be doing in the marketplace to get attention to enable me to actually generate the income I say I want to earn. Doing the math, folks, is another one of the greatest secrets that business owners are not doing, combined with their massive underestimation of effort to actually be successful. Once you understand these things and you start doing this work, you do your math, you then basically backwards planned the effort required on an input level to get those outputs, you now have a lot more clarity about the activities you should be doing to drive business into your business. You are far more energized to do the follow-up beyond the 2 follow-ups that most people do. And you are far more energized to make sure you have a menu with second sales. And you are far more energized to be able to create new products and services for your existing clients so that you can progress them through your funnel to a loyal long-term customer. You get the energy to do that from the math, folks. Okay. Drop in the chat the letter Y for S, Y for yes, or N for no if you've already got this. If Y for yes, you've got this math, or N for no. Looking forward. What's your answer, folks? Have you already done the math or not? Yes or no?
Well, people are answering, I recommend that you continually repeat the math, because the more you do it, the more real it becomes as well. Like when you first start playing with your numbers, it's like, it's not that real. You don't have a lot of reality on it. So the more you do the math, the more you track your numbers. This is how you get predictability. You cannot get predictability in your business, which most people want. You want to get off the roller coaster, right? Who here wants to get off the roller coaster of business? It gets frustrating. It's really not much fun. Like, I like mine roller coasters, but kind of like I would rather choose to do them for amusement, not because I'm in business. So, but to get off the roller coaster of business, you need predictability. And the only way you get predictability is knowing your numbers. Know the math. How many leads do I need to generate? How much marketing do I need to do? What's my close rate? What's my upsell rate? Like every part of that, you can literally reverse engineer and calculate, so then it can give you, okay, this is what I then do moving forward. And if you're very new in business, some of that you're going to be making up to begin with, and then proving or disproving your numbers along the way and adjusting as you go. But you will be constantly looking at those numbers.
Yeah, if you think of elite athletes, you think of performing artists, you think of artists themselves, they're constantly doing the work. They're constantly training and drilling on their skills, okay? And the day that you stop learning, it's the start of your business failing. Too many business owners are not investing in their own learning of how to be successful business owners. They have this mindset that because I'm good at a skill, that therefore I know how to run businesses successfully. Again, the data just does not back up those facts. We need to get business owners educated so they understand this material that we're sharing with you so that you can apply it. I bet there are a number of you, at least on this call, that, for example, when you've had your pipeline full, you've had a big project, it might have even just been one big client, you've dedicated 100% of your effort, time, and energy to that client, the project ends, and then you're twiddling your thumbs going, oh my gosh, where's the next project coming from? Now I'm going to start looking for the new project. That doesn't make sense, folks, because you're putting yourself at risk of this up and down yo-yo effect, right? When you understand these principles, you keep making sure you're doing the activities to get attention, to keep your pipeline full so that it's always full. And your biggest problem is, how do I keep servicing the clients that keep coming in? That is a far, far, far better problem to have than, oh my gosh, where's the next one coming from? Learning, drilling, and training is key to this, folks.
And another point on that too, just a quick point on that as well. If you're getting hung up on a particular sale, oh God, why aren't they moving forward? Or, frustrated at your customers. Anyone ever been frustrated at their customers? Right. It is a sign of a broken pipeline. You don't have enough inquiry coming in because you're getting too hung up on the one coming through. So the solution is go out and get more customers. Because if you had enough customers and someone, like you had so many customers that you celebrated someone saying no to you because it gives you more space, well, that is a totally different game you are then playing. That's where you want to get to.
And we can also guarantee, folks, that if you take this material and you start practicing on your live customers, you're going to find out very quickly that you're not skilled enough to make it work immediately. And then you're going to turn around and say, well, that stuff doesn't work. But you were an amateur playing in a professional's world. and won't have done the professional training and drilling to be able to make sure that you did that in a professional manner that was good for you and your customer, folks. This is why getting coached, training and drilling is properly. Now, if you take nothing else away, if you've got a partner or a best friend, practice and drill with them at the very least. Even though they won't necessarily be skilled enough to be able to coach you, you might be able to coach them enough of this material so they can give you some feedback to test that you're on the right track or not.
And if you don't have someone to, like, you might not, practice in the mirror. Most people have, one of these things, right? Record yourself, watch it back. It's brutal. Just so you know, I remember when I first started doing that, I'm like, oh God, I really sound like that? Am I really saying that? It was brutal. But man, I learned so fast because I was like, oh, I don't ever want to sound like that again. So as much as it might be a brutal way to do it, it is super fast. So if you don't have someone who, because that person you drill with, you want them to be actually supportive and not go into criticism. If you have a dog, sometimes that's good too, because they just bark back. Right. So it doesn't really matter who you are practicing with specifically. Good if they can role play and take on a role. But if you don't have that, your phone works very well as well. So number 7 is don't wait. What do we mean? And this is circling all the way back to the beginning of a statement, which was most people don't get their idea to market fast enough at scales and amounts enough fast enough at the right scalability to be able to stay in business and make enough money. So you need to get your idea to market as fast as possible before you think you're ready, long before you think it's perfect, because it's likely to not be perfect anyway, and you're going to have to change it, iterate on it. Compress time and let the market give you feedback. So if you're putting some, let's say you take your idea to market, you get 0. Great, you have now learned something that the messaging wasn't right. Great, change the message until it starts to put more messaging out there, right? You get so much feedback from being in the game, you get no feedback from being in the sideline. A game is not, you are a spectator if you are sitting on the sideline. You are in the game if you're playing, but when you're in the game, what do you risk most? You risk most of getting beat up, dirty, punched in the face, tackled, right? You're not going to come out the other side clean, but you will have had a hell of a lot of a great experience, and potentially then at least you have a chance to win, but you can't win on the sideline.
And folks, as we wrap up our session, you've got to see some genuine, authentic value from Alison and I as we've gone through the 7 steps to recession-proof your business. If you've identified that you've got some gaps with your marketing, sales, and accountability, then we strongly urge you to join us with our group mentoring program. As you've seen, it's a stupid if you don't offer. You get to keep doing weekly rotations on your 10x mindset, marketing, sales, and follow-up, where you are learning the skills to practice and drill so that you can be the professional that your business needs you to be to enable you to create the success that you want. Equally, when you look at the workbook that you've got, you'll find that throughout that workbook, there have even been some additional quotes throughout from Grant Cardone spread throughout the documentation. We didn't focus on them, but that's an extra bonus for you to look at as you take away in terms of some extra value, because there is messages in every single one of those quotes from someone that has literally gone from being in poverty after his father died at the age of 10, where his father died suddenly, and they were classic middle-class people in Louisiana in the States, thrust into poverty suddenly because they didn't have financial protections put in place for the sudden death of his father at the age of 52. And that sent Grant down a path where he was determined to create wealth for himself and his family, including his mother, of course, over time. But that journey took him down a path where he discovered how little that he'd been educated about how wealth worked and how business worked. And he became an absolute student of business and sales and service. And we, Alison and I, are unbelievably fortunate to be in a community, a global community of 550 10X coaches who are from all walks of life, all sorts of persuasions, all sorts of cultures that are all passionate about helping that mission of getting businesses to be successful throughout the world. And we are playing our role down here as the only elite 10x business coaches. There's 33 of them globally, and you've got 2 working with you in the group mentoring program, folks. So hopefully you can see the value that you've got there. We would like to thank you from Alison and I and the 10x Business Coaches Down Under team. Thank you, Sienna, for your support with us. Thank you, everyone, for coming along. We appreciate your time and effort. Just pop in the chat one takeaway that's been of value to you, please. What's one takeaway that's something that you believe is going to be of value for you to take away from, if you wouldn't mind just popping that in the chat.
And we are all also okay if you take photos and post on your social media and 10x and tagging into 10x Business Coaches Down Under. We would also appreciate that too as well. Follow up, follow up, follow up. Love that. Don't wait to get to market. Brilliant. And the 7 Ps, fabulous. Persist. Exactly. 100%. 95% of the time needs to be on growing your top line. Exactly. And it's a challenge, right? It's a new way to think, because culturally most people don't do that. Like we're most of us have grown up where it's okay, how can we cut back? How can we save? How can we save? No, how can we increase income? How can we increase income? How can we increase income? So it's a different way of thinking. Fantastic, guys. Gary, I will hand it over to you to wrap us up. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We have had a great time, and we hope you have taken away a lot of value and the 7 steps to recession-proof your business. But as we always do, let's sign off with a 10x quote.
Thank you, Alison. So, folks, we have a special way of doing this, but we'll just share the quote. If you tend to join us in the group mentoring program, you'll see the special way. But this is from the 10x quote books. Build a fire so big and so hot that even your competitors stare in amazement. Build, folks, a 10x fire for your business. We look forward to seeing you on socials and about. Thanks for coming along. I'm Gary Ryan. On behalf of Alison Wheeler and Sienna Ryan, we look forward to seeing you all soon. Thanks, folks.